Okay, running the theme song in 3, 2, 1. And welcome back to the Constitutionals Podcast. I'm your host, Chad White. If you didn't know, this is the premier podcast for the website, cpluscomedy.com. Like I just said, it's a website. Go there. Episode 214. Coming in under the wire as the page loads. I haven't had an episode since August 6th. I would have had an episode last week, but things got busy. And then the week before that, things got busy. So these are all stories from that week, from the week of August. Well, it was after August 6th, the week of August 8th. It's all right. Nothing really happened the past couple of weeks. I mean, we all know, right? The world didn't end. Here we are. We're still alive. Okay. Is it okay to still sing that song? I guess. I don't know why it would change. No, it's a bad song. 214. I think I forgot how to do this show. You know, sometimes even Desus and Miro's Bodega Boys, as long as they've been going on, sometimes they disappear for a couple of weeks. Just now, I think they're on hiatus with their television show, Desus and Miro on Showtime. I think that's the full title. I've been watching a lot of late night. That has returned after the several weeks break because of the pandemic. Because of Remember when the pandemic started and all of the news shows, all of the late night shows, everything basically. I know the late night shows, some of them like Colbert and Fallon, almost immediately went to shooting remote, but then others went to hiatus for a little bit. And, and suffered for it. That first episode was with Seth, and he was shooting it on his Mac, on his iMac camera. I said, I don't know if I can keep watching this show. I don't know if I can keep supporting it. Colbert shot it from his bathtub. Fallon was in his second home. I can only assume in upstate New York, shooting from a phone. And in many cases, a lot of the news people are still doing that stuff, and it's not good. Come on, guys. We're at 19, 20 months into this pandemic, and you didn't buy a decent camera at this point. Like, how far in does it take somebody to go, I guess I should... I mean, I was going to buy a new camera, but I guess, this pandemic's going to end anytime soon. They're like 8 months in. Should I buy a new camera? Nah, I'm fine. I'll continue using my iPhone 5S. I don't know if those existed. Who cares? Who cares? Nothing matters anymore. All right, let's get started. Let's go on with the show. South Park had a mega deal. If you don't remember this, this is from August 11th. South Park had a mega deal with Viacom, CBS, and I already talked about the deal. I said it's a deal, where they get 14 movies for over the next 7 years or something like that. So 2 movies a year, roughly like that. But now this is from AV Club, written by William Hughes. This is apparently. The South Park guys are now billionaires because of this deal. Is it a prerequisite for you to write like a jerk when you work for the AV Club, The Onion? Like all those satirical jokes and the rapport that they have. Because quite frankly, I don't like it. Remember, I talk about this all the time all the time. When I interviewed Kyle Kinane, I told him, hey man, you're the reason why I don't write news anymore, because I was trying this thing out. I never felt good about it. And then you called me out on it and I stopped doing it. He was like, yeah, that's good. If you enjoy it, don't do it. That's by Kyle Kinane. I do. Oh, my impressions are so good. I don't want to step on a bit that Seth Meyers does on Late Night with Seth Meyers. The short of it is, he's been doing impressions for like the past 3 months of like Al Pacino, Vince Vaughn, Owen Wilson, and then the joke is that he went to impression camp. and like over the 2-week hiatus for the Olympics is what I should have said 5 minutes ago. That he went to impression camp and that the impressions got better. That's why Corrections is Emmy nominated. Suck it, other Emmy nominations. You know, it's good. It's an honor to be nominated. It's honor to be nominated. It's honor to be nominated. And there we go. That's how you get the title of the show. I'll see you later. That's the end of the show. Goodbye. Okay, let's go. Okay, let's continue. I don't know anymore. So this deal was $900 million. Let's refresh the memories. It was a $900 million deal. Let's pretend it's slash between them. And also coming from the deal, they before the deal was announced, they said that they wanted to buy Casa Bonita, which is a Mexican restaurant in California that they liked so much they based an episode on, and they ended up eventually buying Casa Bonita shortly after this deal was announced. And so now these guys have $900 million. $900 million. And then take this into consideration. Warner Media, several years ago, or last year when HBO Max came out, spent $550 million in order to have the streaming rights for South Park, which episodes were previously on Hulu. I don't think they were on CBS All Access before that became Paramount Plus, but it's not like Viacom was going to pay for that anyway. Because and this is important because Matt Parker and Trey Stone own the streaming rights to South Park. So they were streaming when Hulu was free. They were streaming on SouthParkStudios.com. It was more or less like Comedy Central's website, except those guys owned it. Parker and Stone, they owned it, and you could watch episodes of South Park with the exception of the current season, I believe. But you can watch episodes of South Park. It was not a very good website. I remember it never working for me, whereas Hulu would work perfectly. And then eventually they went over to Hulu, and now they're at HBO Max. So they got this deal with HBO Max. They got the deal with $900 million Paramount Plus. So they're basically billionaires. That's wonderful. Stone said in a recent Bloomberg interview, "We're proud of the fact that years ago we said, let's put the show online and build that audience. What a great time to be an independent dealer." And he's correct. That's why Fox Broadcasting wants to own the rights to their shows. That's why Brooklyn Nine-Nine and a bunch of other shows were canceled a couple years ago, because they want to own the rights, and then for streaming for those shows. So any shows going forward that's airing on Fox are going to be produced by Fox Broadcasting, whatever studio arm they have there now. But that's not including Family Guy, Bob's Burgers, and The Simpsons. Those are still now co-owned by Disney. But it's I for the past couple of years I watch South Park every week, or I try to, and it's still kind of tough. Those guys have turned into real hardcore libertarians, and it's kind of not fun watching the show anymore. And I was watching some last week. I was watching some, and by watching I mean it was on in the background, older episodes, and people say, "Oh, The Simpsons hasn't been funny in so long," or "Oh, Family Guy hasn't been funny in so long." For South Park, even though there's a significantly less amount of episodes than there are for The Simpsons and Family Guy, compared to The Simpsons and Family Guy, South Park has really had a hard turn. and I can't really pinpoint the season. Maybe it was when PC Principal showed up, maybe even before that. And it's not the fact that they're testing out new story ideas such as continuity throughout seasons or season-long story arcs or anything like that. It's there, and you could say the same for I hate to burn this card, but John Oliver hosting late last week tonight. It's like angry humor. It's humor that is based in anger, and they say, F this, F everything. Nothing works anymore. Nothing is good, and we'll tell you what's good, and it's nothing. And that's just how it feels when watching South Park, and like everybody's wrong, blah blah blah, we're right, and they again talking down to the audience, like the show Hacks, which is a bad show. Prove me wrong. And so that's what South Park kind of feels like. And at some point they were good. They were pushing it on, in quotes, pushing the envelope and telling a lot of great stories that were encompassed by a series of wonderful jokes, a lot of good jokes. And even if the jokes were offensive, they still came from a place of not anger, which is good. There's just no point in angry comedy and pointing the finger and all this stuff. Okay, let's move on. This next one comes from 9 to 5 Mac. This is so slow. Written by Jose Adorno. Report details podcaster complaints surrounding new Apple Podcasts subscriptions platform. So Apple Podcast subscriptions, if you recall, they announced a new podcasting subscription plan in earlier this year, I believe, and then they delayed it to later in the summer when it's supposed to come out. They revamped the podcast app on Apple products. So now you can talk about. So now people can, if your fans can subscribe to shows and pay the hosts directly if they don't have a Patreon model set up or some kind of other model like Drip. I think Drip is one of them because I think the Sklar brothers were on that with Dumb People Town. Now it is being said. Can you tell I'm tired? If you're looking at the video, can you just the last 15 seconds of me just rubbing my eyes and I looked at the camera and I just felt my RBF just slide on. It's a mask. Where's Scooby-Doo in the gang? Pull it off. My face. Pull off my face. I looked up. If you're watching the video, I did look up to see if there was something. It was my shadow because I have these bright lights. Not giant. They're not big. They're the size of my phone. So now, this is as reported by The Verge. This is 9 to 5 Mac via The Verge. Excuse me. This is The Verge via 9 to 5 Mac. Quote, podcasters say the platform has failed them in various ways. End of the quote. They say Apple Podcasts Connect, for example, quote, has a confusing interface that often leads to user error scenarios that have them pinging Apple at all hours of the day in panic. So the thing is, you're supposed to subscribe to your podcast for free, watch whatever, and then you subscribe to to them for an extra $5 or however much, and they'll give you bonus episodes, all this other stuff, and it's just supposed to be an easier way for Apple to get more money, and for out of the hosts, and for you to seemingly support the people that you like the most. But rolling this out has proved to be difficult, as explained earlier. And then another one of the things that people complain about is Apple Podcasts is the lack of RSS as a centralized place to publish to all podcasting platforms. That is very true. With Apple's solution, they still have to publish their episodes in a variety of places and manage various backends. And so the Patreon model and the Drip and all that, and then the other ones that have that mimic that same kind of delivery, those are easier because Patreon is, Apple is an established company when it comes to podcasting. It's the biggest podcast platform in the world. I would venture to say I would treat it as the Billboard for podcasts. Billboard Hot 100 is the best. Hot 100. Yeah, Billboard Hot 100. I would say that's a good way to see, the top 40, America's, the world's top 40, America's top 40, whatever. It's the best way to see what music is popular now. And if you look at, I'm pointing to the iPad if you see me pointing on camera, and if I go over here and load up Apple Podcasts as opposed to loading up the Pocket Cast app, was what I used to listen to podcasts, and I go to search, and I see top charts. The number one podcast in the world right now is Dr. Death, Miracle Man from Wondering. Number 3 is The Daily, and number 6 is Smartless, which is now going to be a TV show, I think. And then number 9 is, there's and so here's the thing. So it's a right-wing podcast. It's because everybody, the Android is the most popular operating system in the world, but iTunes and Apple, those are so synonymous with a lot of stuff. And basically podcasts started on Apple Podcasts, on podcasts. So it's a good way to chart and to see what's popular and what's not popular. But the problem is Apple Podcasts is only on Apple products. And you can't access, if you subscribe to Apple Podcasts on, whatever Apple device you have, then there's no way you can access that on your Android phone, in my case, or on your on your PC if you don't have iTunes. Versus if I go to Pocket Casts or or even Spotify, then I have access to podcasts, those podcasts I subscribe to everywhere. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to hit the microphone. So it is a shame that Apple's finicky new platform, the way for them to make more money, is not working. And, quite frankly, I did not think that this is going to be... I will be surprised if this is a popular adoption. If anything, Apple already takes, 30-40% of regular just apps, app store stuff. I wouldn't think that people would want to do this, but why would you want to do this? Because it's everything I just said. You still have to go to other platforms because some people don't even, a lot of people probably don't even listen to podcasts outside of, their computer at work, maybe, or their, what else? Their I don't know, iMac. I was just going to say something that just said iMac. So anyway, I don't know. This is not surprising that it's not working, but it's also surprising that people are even using it. If anything, I would hope it gets axed quickly. This next one comes from Consequence of Sound. I just did this. Yeah, this is written by Glenn Rowley. It's from Consequence of Sound. I just said that. I just realized I said that. TikTok Radio goes live on Sirius XM. So the only reason I have this on here, and we'll quickly glaze over this. That might be the title. That's a better title than the other thing I said. Quickly glaze over this. Spelled over with a P. Spelled this with a capital H. I have big hands. That's what's wrong with the world. So, I was going to the gym last week, and I have Android Auto in my car, and it's so finicky, and the gym is only a 5-minute drive, especially at 5 o'clock in the morning. So I just listened to Sirius XM on the way to the gym, and I turned on to channel number 4, which is Soul Cycle Radio. It's been that way since I've gotten my Sirius XM. Turn it on, and I hear a commercial, which is Sirius XM does have commercials, but they're not frequent as regular FM channels. And I hear this is TikTok Radio. We're coming to you live on Wednesday, August 17th at noon p.m. Just something like that. And I just went, what in the world is this? And I thought, because Soul Cycle Radio is exactly what it is. It's music basically played at a Soul Cycle. So it's music you cycle to, remixes of pop songs and pop songs. That's it. and I enjoyed listening to that on the way to the gym. But then TikTok Radio reared its ugly head, and now it's live. So basically what it is TikTok exclusive songs that are on TikTok, songs that are popular on TikTok, and that's all it is. And it's songs you never heard of. If you are over the age of 25 and you don't use TikTok, it's songs you never heard of. But then you also got Dixie D'Amelio, who is a TikTok person, Ash Nico, Lauren Gray, Lil Nas X, Ed Sheeran. So far, I've named people I don't like. I don't like any of those people. I like Ed Sheeran. He was in Yesterday, the movie. It's a good movie. I enjoy the movie. Okay. Anyway, it's a TikTok channel, and you got it. You already understand what it is. Okay. All right, so let's do this one. Let's do this one next. We're going to examine NBC's Peacock-driven Olympic push. That's exactly what I have down in my notes. This is from The Wrap, written by Tim Basinger. I actually have to, I'll say log in, but I do not have a Wrap login, and I'm not going to tell the way that I read this without legally paying for it. Tim Basinger. Don't put things behind a paywall. You're The Wrap. And it's a short article. So NBC's Olympic Games, Tokyo Olympic Games, obviously Tokyo citizens were angry about it. Where are we gonna get our food? So they were mad, and but it seemed as though people in America, to the very least, were interested in watching, especially if you watched friggin' any morning news at all, like I do. All you saw was Gayle King talking about it, or Robin Roberts talking about it, or Savannah Guthrie talking about it. Women, isn't that interesting? That all the main anchors, and let this be said, that yes, they're co-hosts technically, but they're the faces. Women are the main faces of all the morning news shows. Isn't that interesting? And then late night, at least on broadcast, has no women. And it's all white guys. Interesting. That just came to mind. Robin Roberts, Gayle King, Savannah, Hoda, the rest. They talk about. I put Hoda up there too. I'll put Hoda in that category too. They were, a lot of the stories were a lot about the Olympics. And so it seemed like the Olympics were taking over everything, especially on ESPN, especially on Fox Sports 1 and CBS Sports and the like. It seemed as though the Olympics were everywhere. And, even in my case, I never watched the Olympics before this year. That's a true statement. So Basinger took his beady little eyes and said, let's enjoy this. Let's look at the Olympics and how they worked. NBC launched a streaming service, Peacock. It's free, and there's also paid tiers version of it. If you paid for the paid tier version, then you were able to watch Olympic stuff essentially as live as it could be. I think there's at least a tape delay digitally. Tape delay. Do people still do tape delays? Do the company still do tape delays? And then with that you got to watch recaps. They had special shows, clips from Amber Ruffin, special shows, one starring Snoop Dogg, hosted by Snoop Dogg and Kevin Hart, which was actually very funny. It was a pretty funny show. I only watched one episode, but it was a pretty funny show, and they had a lot of stuff. And then also you could rewatch it. You could rewatch reruns, because of the $5 tier or whatever. So here's what we got. According to data firm Aetna, the opening weekend of the games, which was July 23rd to 25th, drove the highest number of signups for one of Peacock's two paid subscription offerings in the service's short history, though it did not give hard numbers. So obviously, we know people signed up for Peacock and they paid for the ad supported tier, which is $5. And remember, Peacock is free, $5 or $10 for no ads. And the games also led to more new subscriptions than other big content plays. So that means Disney Plus launching with The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, like a big event. The Olympics drove 151% more paid signups than the service's introduction of The Office in January. 108% more signups than April's WrestleMania, which, if you remember, a couple weeks prior, NBC Universal and Peacock said that they have the exclusive rights to WWE stuff. I think it's WWE. I don't know. It's whatever the wrestling federation there is. That's the WWF. And 50% more signups than the Universal animated sequel Boss Baby Family Business, which no one except for me was waiting for. Look, I'm telling you, the Boss Baby TV show on Netflix ended on a perfect note that led into the movie. And the same thing goes for All Hail King Julian, which even had a spinoff in the middle of this show, and it led directly into Madagascar. Quite frankly, it was really good. You can get over butt jokes a lot. And remember, Boss Baby also released in theaters and on Peacock. And remember, that was when Delta started coming into America. People were like, maybe we should stay home. So Peacock has reached 54 million signups to date and 20 million monthly active accounts. Me included, I watched 2 episodes of SNL yesterday. 1 episode, and I was going to start another one. And then I said, no, it's too much SNL. But I did. But then I ended up watching a bunch of clips. That's what happens. That's me. If you want to know what I do in my life, is I go, instead of watching, the White Lotus, instead of watching this new show, maybe I'll watch old SNL or Happy Endings or The Simpsons. Every single day I watch The Simpsons. Not every time I say I watch The Simpsons every single day, I go, I do watch it every day, and then I don't watch it for like a day, and I go, okay, I'll watch it again. NBC Universal's parent company Comcast revealed last month during its second quarter 2021 earnings call. That's it. And those don't include the month of July when the Olympics began. So I would probably venture to say maybe, let's say 10 million people signed up. So now they're at 64 million. Because I don't think it would have been too much. And now when people, not only did they watch the Olympics, or didn't watch, but not only did they watch the Olympics, because the Olympics did not have good ratings on traditional TV audience. But not only did they subscribe for the Olympics, now they can go, okay, the first 2 Godfather movies plus the recut version of Godfather Part 2. What is it called? Oh man, it's in my list. But the recut version of Godfather Part 2 that just came out are all on Peacock. And then within the month, they get all 3 John Wick movies. And they have the rundown starring The Rock. Peacock has a good plethora of movies. TV shows, not so much. but they have a good amount of movies. And so that drove, obviously, people away from the other platforms, watching the Olympics on Peacock, away from places like NBCOlympics.com and the NBC Sports app. But why would you watch it there if it's all going to be on Peacock? But maybe somebody likes NBC Sports enough to download the app. The TV audience on NBC has sunk by as much as 51% in prime time from the Rio Games in 2016, which were already down from the London Games in 2012. But the 13-hour time difference compared to the East Coast did not help matters. But I think the difference is even if there's a time difference between USA and the US and another company. Yeah, well, the United States is a company. This is corporate America, people. Let that sit. I assume you're all applauding even while you're driving or while you're playing a video game. I listen to podcasts while I play a video game. That's how I listen to Doughboys. So, I think the time difference is not as, I don't think it's as effective as people as analysts would have you to believe, because I mean, even if that's the case, we're still going to get reruns on USA. We've still got reruns on every other NBC Universal network. Olympics Channel, NBC, Telemundo. Oh, ho, ho. Look at me. I'm a Stacey Latin person. I'm not going to say which nationality because I don't know what this voice is. I'm Juandissimo from the Fairly Godparents. Fairly Odd Parents, excuse me. Well, we're also godparents. Okay. Well, goodbye. I gotta go. Wow, did you guys see Juandissimo from the Fairly Odd Parents? He was here. Interesting. Anywho. God. I hope it rains today. It's not. It was 92 degrees. As if that matters. But but still, people interested in games are still going to watch it. They still want to see Katie Ledecky. They still want to see Simone Biles and the rest of the people whose names I don't care for. All across TV coverage, viewership has dropped 45% from 2016. The games got off to a bad start with the smallest audience ever for opening ceremonies. And I think all of that was the attribution to the huge drop, the almost 50% drop, is due to the fact because of the pandemic, and then for this short period of time in the summer, during the summer, went before Delta became a massive worry, people were allowed to get out, and they got their vaccines, and now the vaccines are taking effect, and say, all right, we can go outside, we can hang out with our friends, we can go to parties, we can visit family, we're going to go on vacation because we weren't able to do that last year. And so obviously the Olympics were hampered by, or dampened by the pandemic, and and just maybe there's just so much. And I was thinking, what I was listening to Kara Swisher's Sway, and she was talking to the guy who created Alamo Drafthouse. This came out today, and she asked about streaming and how Alamo and AMC and a bunch of other theater chains, you can instead of going to the theater, you can just rent a movie digitally from them. You can rent The Green Knight, or you can rent Boss Baby Family Business via their website, and so you can support the theater directly if that's what you so choose to do. And so that way you're supporting your Alamo Drafthouse or your Landmark theaters, but then you're also staying home and not going to the theater physically, and they still get the money because that's who you want to support. But I also think, where was I going with this? That it is oh man, it's on the tip of my tongue. Oh my gosh. HBO Max, you can also watch the movies from 2021 on HBO Max at home instead of going to the theaters. I just think it's the fact that people, it might be fatigue, franchise fatigue, it might be blockbuster fatigue, and there's just so much out there that watching it at home might be the best case scenario, or it might truly just pass people by. If like Reminiscence on HBO Max rather, that came out in theaters and also came out on HBO Max, but if it just came out in theaters, I wouldn't watch it. And I was watching it on Saturday night at 11 o'clock, and then halfway through I said, all right, I'm tired. Actually, it wasn't even it was 30 minutes in. I said, I'm tired, I'm going to turn this off and go to sleep. This is an exciting Saturday night for a guy, a single, lonely single man who lives with a cat. I live with her. She does not live with me. To just 8 o'clock, go, I guess I should order a pizza. Walk up to the pizza place by himself. See all these young people hanging out and having a nice time. And while you were listening to a food review, a fast food review podcast, walk the half a mile up the road, get a pizza, and then walk back, listen to your podcast. People are passing you by, going, "Let's go to this bar. Let's go to this bar. Yeah." And then you get home, you're sweaty because it was hot outside, and you can hear the music from the bar next door. People laughing and having a nice time. And you're just sitting there like, "'Cause I gotta eat this pizza." "Oh, I'm gonna have some ice cream." "Oh, 'cause I watched Reminiscence. So I'll pop me some popcorn," which I did not end up doing. But oh, Nova's sitting up. She knows it's 30 minutes till she gets to eat dinner. Little fat turd. All right, this next one comes from The Hollywood Reporter, written by Alex Weprin. CBS This Morning shakeup. Former NFL player Nate Burleson to replace Anthony Mason. Now, this is very good that I turned on Good Morning Football. If you don't know who Nate Burleson is, he hosts Good Morning Football over there on the NFL Network. I think it's a great show, that talks about football, but I think it's a great morning show. Oh, speaking of football, I just got a ESPN alert from about the Dallas Cowboys. Oh, would you look at that? 3 people have the COVID. Jeez Louise, guys, come on. Anyway, Good Morning Football, I think, is a really good sports show in general. There's not yelling. They have great segments. All those people are funny and good at what they do versus a lot of other shows on competing networks and on the same network that are yelly and overproduced. So Nate is going to be taking the great Anthony Mason's position over on CBS This Morning. Anthony Mason was a resident older white man who when he interviewed the brothers Osborne about TJ Osborne being gay or coming out of the closet, he wore, or no, who was it? He interviewed somebody around that same time and for CBS Sunday Morning, and he wore a scarf and a fedora, and I just thought, oh, I'm seeing a whole different side of Anthony Mason that's not him just wearing a suit in the morning, and it was so great to see. So this bringing Nate Burleson is great. For one thing, I hope that they over at Good Morning Football replace him. He was the only person who played football, so I really hope that they replace him with somebody who is most importantly, a good broadcaster, and B, someone who also played sports. And I think football, hopefully, but I think that is hard to find, and I always think about this all the time because you see it when you watch interviews and you read interviews and you hear, quite frankly, sports players say the dumbest stuff in the world, and I go, you can't be a stereotype. But Nate is a very smart guy, as is everybody on both shows, but Nate is in particular a very smart guy. And also for playing football. I don't know his stats. I don't know if he was, one of the greatest players, but whatever. But they have to replace him with somebody who is just as good or better. Like if you look at the NBA on TNT, you look at Ernie, Kenny, Shaq, and Chuck. They are so good at what they do. And even when Shaq started out, he wasn't as good. Same thing goes for, Chuck as well. And Kenny too, but they came into their own. If you watch the documentary, it's a really good documentary. And was it nominated for an Emmy? I don't think so. I think it has to be nominated next year. Anyway, so it's obviously going to be rough going at first, but I hope they bring on somebody who can be an entertainer and be good at what they do. So anyway. Nate signed an overall deal with Viacom CBS, which will see him continue as an analyst on NFL Today and NFL Network, as well as, quote, select yearly appearances on Nickelodeon in a variety of capacities. He also co-hosted the NFL Wild Card game on Nickelodeon that aired earlier this year, and he did a fine job. He's really good at what he does. And Anthony Mason is great. He's going to be contributing to... he's going to be contributing to CBS News, I believe. Yeah. Yes. In 2019, that's when Anthony Mason and Anthony and Tony DeCopel, they got two Anthonys. That was a problem. But that's when they joined Gayle King after Norah O'Donnell left for CBS Evening News and John Dickerson left for 60 Minutes. And also after Charlie Rose, 2017. I remember the morning I was at the gym when Charlie Rose was Me Too'd. And I went, not Charlie Rose. I sent a text to two other people in the industry. And I went, oh, Charlie Rose is down. Same thing for Matt Lauer. The exact same two people. Oh, man. Can you believe this? Okay. Let's move on. Oh, they also likened Nate Burleson. They said that Michael Strahan over on Good Morning America has been a good ratings boom for the show. Also because he's good at what he does. It is so difficult. It is so difficult to find a good broadcaster. This is why, I respect LeBron for his skills and I respect him for his business acumen, but he is so stupid. He is so dumb, and I don't think he got a vaccination. And you know what? If you didn't get one, you're also dumb. and Steph Curry, I'm sure he's got a great personality, and he seems like a really nice guy, and he's very good at basketball. But seeing him on Holy Moly read off of a teleprompter is just so frustrating. That's why I like Kyrie Irving in the Uncle Drew movie. Great. He's so funny. He was so funny. Shaq in any role he does, so great, so funny. That's the thing. This is why Michael Jordan, that's why I can't stand him as a human being. So let's take a look at CBS This Morning's ratings. Speaking of ratings, I'm talking about Good Morning America's ratings. Again, I got to sign into the Rap Pro, but not sign in but not sign in, and read this article. Because they keep putting things behind the paywall. Did CBS This Morning close ratings gap with GMA today under Anthony Mason? This comes from Tony Maglio, August 13th. Not really, his answer is, but it's made some progress this season. So CBS This Morning is not the highest rated show, but I will say that it is the one I choose to watch. Today's show, even though I worked for NBC, Today's show is too chaotic for me, and it's just and then Good Morning America is something I just can't attach to. Although I do watch all three, I try to cycle through all three throughout the week. I watch a lot of news. When you work in the news, it's part of your life for a little bit. You get stuck to it. So Nate Burleson's joining. Anthony Mason's going to CBS News as a contributor. And the disparity is pretty big. Overall, GMA currently has a 20% viewer advantage over CBS This Morning and just a 3% lead over Today. See, it's kind of like how Fallon and Colbert are, fighting for ratings. And also, they don't care about ratings. It's the networks that care about ratings. And the key news demo of adults 25 to 54 today has a 9% lead on GMA, but a whopping 40% advantage over CBS This Morning. I mean, they do have Dylan Dreyer, and she's pregnant again. I understand, man. I get her pregnant too. This is a clean show. Those gaps are fairly consistent with how she talking about Dylan Dreyer, baby. Those gaps are fairly consistent with how the shows stacked up before Mason and DeCopel joined King. For the full 52 weeks between September 2017 and September 2018, before Mason and DeCopel joined the broadcast, GMA had a 24% lead over CBS This Morning in total viewers, and Today had a 39% lead in the demo. So the worst versus the first gap has narrowed a bit in total viewers, but dipped slightly in the key demo. Interestingly enough, the gaps between the second place shows and CBS This Morning have followed the exact same path. Leads on with more numbers, gets into the Nielsen, and you will not believe that that the viewer numbers for Nielsen aren't very good. But we'll continue on with this. That CBS This Morning has averaged in 2019 for over the course of the summer, 2.782 million total viewers, with 700,000 of them being in the 701,000 of them in the Key News demo. Those same number of weeks, GMA averaged nearly a million more viewers, which is 3.720 million, of which 1.049 million fell into Key Demo. Today brought in 3.607 million viewers per day, with 1.106 million adults 25 to 54. The ratings are important, especially these morning ratings are important for broadcasters. They're really fighting for the morning ratings, and they're fighting for the not late night, but also primetime ratings, because that's where you make the majority of your money. Because otherwise, people are just going to, in waiting rooms, going to be watching One Life to Live. Is that a soap opera? I was going to say a rom-com, but that's not true. Can't wait to see what happens. This is the last week that Nate Burleson is going to be on the show. And another thing, this last one comes from Vulture, written by Joseph Adelian, talking about HBO Max. I labeled it Fixing HBO Max. This is an old article. It's tomorrow. It'll be 2 weeks old, and I just want to get into it. I could have saved it, but I refused to. HBO Max is a very, very, I think it's, quite frankly, my favorite service, besides Hulu. But Hulu is effing up too. But it is a very buggy app. Apple TV's HBO Max app has just been dealing with the worst. Roku users have gotten a lot of malfunctions, and all this is like slowness, freezes. In my case, I have Google Chromecast with Google TV. I have Google TV, and it's on that the LG C1, which is the newest television, and the Chromecast, the Google TV, is the newest Chromecast. And every time, and this is the only app it happens on, I watch a movie in 4K, like Reminiscence, for instance, or Suicide Squad. It's happened with Reminiscence, Suicide Squad. I press play and it blinks. It'll play the movie for like 5 seconds and then blink, and then in the corner, if you have an LG TV, it says Dolby Vision in the corner, or whatever it supports, and it blinks, and it stinks because it's a premium app on the most high end of the devices, and it still doesn't work properly. And Joseph wrote a really good piece talking about how the problem is that when Warner Media and AT&T were creating this HBO Max app, they used the skeleton of HBO Go, which is how where it came, which is how it lives. So they used HBO Go and HBO Now, and they said this is going to work. It's the strangest thing. It's like you see it, car manufacturers. They go, if you look at the Audi RS8 and the Lamborghini Urus, they're the same car, but one of them has the Lamborghini name, and it has like Lamborghini, shifters, but that's it, and the wheels and stuff, but that's it, and the engine, but that's it. It's the same tech interface, it's the same wheel, driving wheels, the same seats, but it just has the Lamborghini name etched into it. But in the case of technology, that's not how it's supposed to work. You can't take this Android phone and turn it into a tablet, and they tried that. They tried it. They tried to make the Pixel Book Go and all the other Android tablets. It just doesn't work. You can't just blow up Android and expect it to work, because the apps don't fit inside of the screen. You can do that in the case of iOS because it's better than Android. And so that's where you see problems of people, like when Game of Thrones was going on for the final 3 or 4 seasons were going on while HBO Go and HBO Now were apps that were being used a lot as people were leaving cable and going to HBO Now and using it and stuff. And so you had a lot of people trying to watch Game of Thrones at once, and then the app would crash, and then that would be a big story the next day. So now, apparently, Joseph writes that they're trying to fix it by creating an entirely new app that's going to launch at some point next year. It's not publicly announced, but he's got a quote from a Warner Media exec who has gone nameless. We're going to replace every single connected TV app in the next 4 to 5 months. So that means Roku, Apple TV, Google TV, they're all going to get new apps. I don't know if that means in terms of, I know they said TV apps, but I don't know if that means in terms of mobile apps or anything. Relaunch could, of course, have newer bugs all over the place, but if we have one cohesive experience in lieu of building a new house on top of an old house, then it'll be fine. Oh, he says it's a good signal for AMC Plus. Because it's not part of a massive entertainment conglomerate, AMC Network's streaming efforts, AMC Plus, and a collection of niche apps, as well as Shudder and Acorn, such as Shudder and Acorn, haven't gotten the same level of attention as the other direct-to-consumer platforms, but the company has been quietly plugging along during the pandemic, adding new subscribers at a very healthy clip. Last week, it's across its various services, collectively boasts 9 million subscribers by the end of the year, and is forecasting to climb to 25 million by 2025. I don't understand what AMC Plus has to do with this. Reaching these goals has gotten a bit easier today with the news that AMC Networks has struck a deal with Verizon to give the wireless and internet giants customers up to 1 year free access to AMC Plus. I still don't see what this has to do with this. I mean, are they saying that? I wonder if Joseph is saying that AMC Plus is going to capitalize on this, but it's not. It's not as if people are searching for the stuff on AMC Plus. That being said, the AMC Plus, I bought 2 months for like 99 cents on per month on Amazon Prime Day, and I watched a couple episodes of The Birthday Boys and nothing else. So on AMC Plus, so there you have that. Yeah, I mean, just capitalize on it. Who cares? We're HBO Max again. If it's going to be a power player in terms of this streaming app interface ecosystem, then they're going to have to create this new app. If they can't, because every platform is experiencing different issues. But they're all different issues, but they're all this similar vein. It's just gonna have to change. Listen, if you like what you heard here, head to the website, cpluscomedy.com, where we've got interviews with your favorite comedians. There's somebody emailed me last week with the comedian's name, and I said, please let me talk to this person. So hopefully we hear back from that this week. What else? I'm recording something for Sirius. It's Sirius XM. It is not paid, but I will talk about it whenever it airs. So that'll be fun. Actually, I'm going to have to do that after this. As Nova eats her food, she sat back down. She sees Daddy's working. She sees Daddy's working. If you want to see a video version of the show, go to youtube.com/cpluscomedy, where you can see me sitting and looking very greasy, very oily. All the jojoba oil from this morning I put on. It's only 2 drops. I put on after I put on my face lotion, and my serum is just showing. It's shining, baby. See my hair looking nice and big. Need a haircut so badly. Whatever. Also on youtube.com/cpluscomedy is our premiere show, News Time, where I sit down with a topic and I talk about it. It's like the Daily Show, except way less funny. Last week's episode is about... Oh no, this always happens. This always... Also, first of all, it came out late, which is partially my fault and partially something else that happened. It's about the summer box office. I did a summer box office episode. I said I was not going to, but then I did one anyway. I don't think I ever explicitly said I wasn't going to, but whatever. So there you go. It's about the summer box office and how it came back during the pandemic, but also how it just kind of stifled after a little bit. So definitely check it out. It's a good episode and a really good cold open that came together at the last possible minute. But it's a good cold open that only works for probably black people, but whatever. Anyway, and I wrote a song. This is the second week in a row I wrote a song for that, for the cold open. It's interesting. I like writing the music, but if I come up with a cold open that needs a song, I go, okay, I got to do this. But it is so difficult to just, to put it together and bust it out, and then it never comes out the way I need it to come out. Twitter, Instagram at C+ Comedy. Me on Twitter and Instagram at Chad Black White. Like us on Facebook. Rate, review, subscribe to this show wherever you get your podcasts. Tell your friends about it, please. I see the subscriber numbers. They're going up. Not very fast. Not very fast at all. I don't ask you for money. This is free. I'm not even going to put ads on this. I don't care. If a company ever said, hey, Chad, we want to sell ads on the show, I go, no. No. I'm not put ads on this show. This is a friggin' portfolio, baby. This is the purest of the pure. Thanks for listening. Goodbye.